Okay, understanding conscious creation. A lot of what I'm going to say today is not from academic experience. It is from personal experience on the ground, on the field. I started my entrepreneurial journey literally 12 years ago. This is my 12th year in business. And I started off like very inspiring stories that we were today. One of anything that you'd imagine that comes part of entrepreneurship, hard work, struggles, fights, wins, like motivation, demotivation, we lived it all. So thank you to my previous speakers for inspiring everyone. And I think it's our duty to keep inspiring others to follow the kind of path that we've taken, because that is actually quite important. So when I'm going to say understanding conscious creation, we're talking about firstly I want to point out two factors that define human potential, and these are a little different to look at. So the first factor is called human perception. Okay, so I'd just like to draw your attention to the screen, and I don't have to tell you what is on the screen. Now, what's happening is once you see this image, okay, some of us who might have been hungry are already thinking about that samosa. We're kind of imagining the kind of taste it has, what kind of texture it has, right? Am I right with that? Yeah. And so this is human perception. Okay, when there was nothing on the screen, we did not have food in mind. We already just maybe have refreshments, so we did not have any kind of idea about food. But as soon as something comes up in front of us, it invokes a sensory trigger within us. Okay, and this is connected to the first memory of maybe the samosa that you had ever. And as if I keep this picture here, a lot of times we would think that, hey, this is maybe what I want to have for dinner today, because we've been looking at it, it's becoming it's kind of enticing you. So I'm talking about two concepts over here. One is the power of perception. So perception overall means anything that we can perceive or anything that we learn to perceive over time, that is from all our five senses, from what we can see to what we can taste, touch, all of it. Now, what the point I'm trying to make today is, there is a thinker called Mark Dawes, and he's a quantum thinking specialist. What he says is, what you just felt, most of us, we actually enjoyed the samosa at least up to the 60% of its experience. We already thought about what it feels like its taste. Maybe you have a canteen here that serves good samosa. Maybe this reminded you of that. But it's not a picture of that particular samosa, but you can still think of it like that. So the point here is that 70% of whatever we experience in reality, for example, we're experiencing samosa reality right now, 70% of it is given to us by our own minds. It comes back to us from the perception that we've built up from all these years, all the 22 years that you're in alive, or so like some of us are elder, and we've experienced way many more samosas in our life, and that is what has built up our perception. So I'm going to leave this topic here, and I want you to keep it at the back of your mind when we're looking at the next topic. But before we do that, I'm going to do this. Now what does it look like? Okay, so what I've just done is I have contradicted it. Okay, there is never a sweet samosa. Okay, but what is this? What is your perception telling you? Okay, perception is getting contradicted now because we've never had a sweet samosa. So the point I'm trying to make here is the second point, is the power of thought, of how perceptions can affect our thoughts, and how we let our thoughts actually turn into reality. Now, just by doing that now, if I let's say I had not done that, and I keep this slide to the original, and this is the samosa, I'd ask you to guys keep looking at it. Like I said before, most likely one of us is going to go home. While going home, we're going to pick up samosa or order samosa, or maybe the next time you see a canteen, you're going to make sure you order samosa just because I've reminded you of it right now. So this is the power of conscious thought. We are building the world that we are living in, consciously without thoughts. Every single thought we make is actually contributing to the life that we are building around us. And there is another example of this. For example, I showed you another picture which is reminding you of something that is, let's say, a happy moment. Okay, any happy moment that you would have felt from your childhood or of recent times. If I show you a picture that reminds you of a happy moment, maybe if that's in the morning time, so there is a very good chance that as you progress on that day, you will probably say positive things to other people. You will do positive things on that day, and maybe that positivity is going to spread to other people. And just look at this power of thought. I showed you a picture. I did not tell you what to think, but whatever that picture made you think is making you live your day in a particular way. Okay, so that is the power of conscious thought. And these are the two aspects that I want to draw your attention to today before I get into the main topic. Now, getting to the main topic, we're talking about conscious creation. What I believe or what I want to convey about conscious creation, this is a fairly new topic. I am saying this from the perspective of a designer. I am a jewelry designer by education and qualification. I have a gold medal jewelry designing from the President of India when I passed out. I have pursued my journey of entrepreneurship by pursuing my passion, and I had a few inspiring people to me. I took up this at a time when there was no one. So I'm relating this to the mind over matter. I started if you imagine, sustainability is a buzzword right now. Okay, everybody's out of sustainability. We're trying to be green, non-polluting, as environment friendly as possible in everything we're trying to do. But 12 years ago, that word did not exist, and that is when I started a company that was trying to be 100% sustainable in the terms of the products we use or the processes that we build, and in the processes or techniques that we use. We have trying to be green. So it has been, you can say, a very difficult journey since then. But the focus remains there that what we're trying to do is something conscious. Okay. And so this is here calling out to all the creators out there. And by creators, I mean not only designers, it could be any kind of designers who are building buildings like this, like architects, interior designers, it can be fashion designers, it could be engineers, engineering the next technology, you could be any kind of person who contributes, you could be digital content creators, you could be, like anything, if you're a creator of anything, that is going to interact with people. If it's a social creation, it could be a product, it could be a chair, it's the sofa that we're looking, or this mic in my hand, anything that we're building. Here is the main point. The world that we want to live in is being built by us. Everything we see around us is built by somebody, somewhere, right? There has been a human that thought about building this auditorium. There has been a human who thought about building the chair, the carpet, the balloon. Everything is thought being built by someone. Now, the bigger point is there is a particular way of building this. But as we go about life, in fact, what the designers or what the designers today are designing is becoming the world 5 years from now or 10 years from now. The cars that we make or design today are the cars that are going to hit the road in the next couple of years. The technologies that we design today are the technologies that are going to be implemented in the next couple of years. So do you see this relation that we have a conscious mind which we can actually direct to think towards anything that we want? And here I am trying to point out that this is the direction that we need to keep, especially because we're creators and we have a role to play in building this world. It's not somebody else's job, it is our job that we're doing. So I'm going to touch base on a few touch points of conscious creation. These are questions that you should ask yourself whenever you're making something. These are going to sound like sustainable development goals, which is also laid out by the government now, which focuses on sustainable development. But this is more pointing out or focused on the creative aspect of it, because we're talking about mind over matter, and these are choices which we have to make. So as we answer these questions, you will find choices that you are going to have to make choices. Okay, let's go. Okay, the first question that you should ask yourself before starting any project or before you start or plan something is, does it solve a problem or fulfill a need in this society? Okay, is it replacing an existing solution? Is it a better solution to something that already exists? Or is it just another solution to something that already exists? And what is the need for it? Are we just making products to crowd the market and capitalize on a need? Or is it actually a favorable solution, right? Is it actually going to positively affect what you're doing, or what every human being that object is going to interact with? Is it going to have a positive impact or not? Okay, so when we answer this question, we're actually trying to figure out what is the relevance of what you're doing, what is the need behind what you're doing, and whether that need is actually like an important need in today's time. And what we also need to understand that this has to be around, in and around what your sites have to be local as well as global. What happens nowadays is that businesses or creators are aimed at gathering an international audience, and they're not actually focusing on what's local. Like you see, we'll come to more of this, but what I'm trying to say is keep your eyes local as well as mindset global, because if your aim is a global one, but you also have to win the local ground first. Like sort of said, the team starts small, but then you grow big, but that's how it is. You start with what's around you, you make sure you make a difference to what's around you, only then you can make a bigger difference in the world. Okay, the second question that we probably should ask as we're thinking about going ahead with this is, what is the positive impact on the environment around it? Now, I'm not asking you what is the environmental impact. I'm asking you what is the positive impact that it has on the environment, because that is what it actually needs to answer. If the answer is no to this, then you already have your answer that this is it's not, what you're doing is not very great for the environment, because everything we do actually has a positive and negative impact. Okay, let's say the electricity we are consuming to run the air conditioners in this room, it is going to have a positive or negative impact somewhere, right? So this is again an onus on the creators. Like I said, think about it. Think about your steps. Does it have a positive impact? Whatever you're choosing to do. For example, I have seen a lot of restaurants. They might be very good restaurants, they're serving very good food, but they're using packaging, and it's a popular restaurant. The more your restaurant is popular, the more you're having shipments of food going out. Each shipment of food is generating a couple of pieces of plastic waste. Okay, each shipment is generating so much like fuel used in logistics. Now, I'm not saying it's not necessary, but is it necessary? Is a question that we must ask. Is it good for the kind of country we live in, where we're already struggling with a lot of solid waste? Maybe not. Maybe we have a better choice or a better question to answer. Okay, third question. What is the socio-economic impact? Now, this is again bringing down your vision to a local level more than a global level, because suppose we are into manufacturing of products, or we're into manufacturing or delivering services. Is it affecting the place where you're manufacturing it from? Is it affecting any community? Is the companies that are busy big business hubs not being constructed into agricultural land or forest land? Is it a wise thing to do? I mean, it's a great idea, but does it have to be on forest land? It can be somewhere else. How are we justifying the use of such, on that decision? Because that is having a severe socio-economic impact. There is communities that are displaced, there is resources that get displaced, and there's a lot of life involved around this. So again, I'm just saying, think about it. This is about the people. You have to take care of the people that are around you. Maybe those are the people who might be working in your factories, but you have to take care of it. You cannot displace communities just because we think it's a great economic idea. Fourth question, does it have a deeper connect or relevance with the target audience? This is something I really want to focus on telling to designers, like everybody who's a designer out there. You could be designing anything from fashion to table lights or jewelry like I am, or some of my other friends make fashion accessories, whatever it is. Who is wearing your product? Keep your target audience in mind. And how long are they going to use your product for? Is it something that, yes, you buy it, looks good on your table or good on your wall or good on your neck for a few days, and then you say that, it's not looking so good anymore, let me just buy a new one, okay? But what if that product that you bought in the first place has a deeper connect with that audience? maybe they are going to use it for the rest of their lives. If you think of it in your grandfather's time or your father's times, you would still be wearing, or a lot of us would be wearing a watch that was belonging to your father or a grandfather, and you're still having it. What does it mean? It means that they had a couple of watches and they did not need a new watch every few years. The watches were built in that quality. The watches were treated with such respect, and like everything, I'm not just saying, talking about watches, it's houses, cars, everything that we have encountered. They were treated with, like, these objects were treated with such respect that people cared for it. We did not have a need to buy too many new products all the time. And because of this deep connect, because of the way the products were made, it has a deep connect with the audience that just increases the number of years and the kind of engagement, and does not actually create a need for too many more pieces, which I think is, again, a sustainable thing to do. So it indicates duration of use and mindful consumption. What we're trying to hint at here is the word mindful consumption. Are you buying mindfully? Just because something is cheap and easily available, and do you need it? Do you need to buy that? Because when you're buying it, you're forcing more of it to come into the market, and maybe that is not a sustainable thing to do. Fifth one, materials. When you're talking about products, this is specifically coming down to products. You can say choice of building materials, choice of materials for building products, anything. Are they recyclable? Are they whatever the resources, whatever the resource that consumes, even it could be resources like energy, is it recyclable? Is it generative energy? Is it upcycle? And most important, like I said before, is it good for the area? Okay. Now, I'm going to point out one trend here, which was very popular on video platforms like YouTube. There is these things like 5-minute crafts and 10-minute crafts and DIY, which let you do everything in, like build your own thing at home, or you build decorative objects for your house in these 5 minutes and 5 crafts. But if you look at the materials that these videos are projecting to use, most of them are made of plastic. Most of them are not recyclable, okay? And I'm just saying that creating that amount of waste just for something like this is, again, I would say it can be a better choice of what you want to make, all right? And again, we're indicating a better waste management because, as we all know, if you have visited any major city, every major city, apart from a few, has a solid waste problem in India. We're generating too much amount of waste. Now, a lot of that waste also comes from living our essential lives, but a lot of that waste also comes from living a luxury life, or pretending to be a luxury life, or trying to live in that way of living a convenient life. And that is what I'm trying to hint at, that you have a choice every single time, whether you want what material you want to buy, how much money you want to spend on something. And it always goes, if you spend a little bit more, you get a little better product, which might last you maybe a lot more than a cheaper product would have lasted you. And that way you can actually reduce the amount of waste you generate on a daily basis if you think about it for a full year. Okay, lastly, this is, it's something that I always say to everyone, like, whatever you're choosing to do, is it helping spread more awareness and positivity, or is it helping spread great information? Especially with the trends of getting onto the social platforms, growing your audiences, and influencing them in some way. This is more like a humble appeal to all the influencers out there that, hey, you have the power to push whatever information you can. Please push the good stuff in there, because we want to give mindful consumption. We want to focus on practice. We want to show things that are actually really good, and instead of mindless consumption or mindless promotions, which, yes, it can get you fame, but that fame is coming at a very severe cost. Okay, and we have to understand that we have to wake up to that reality that this is what we're doing, this is the current reality, this is what is good for our country. Let's focus on those things that can actually help our community grow, and except for, or, apart from then just going into products or promotions of things which are promoting the, like some of the points I said before, like the solid waste problem or the displacing of the communities, or like just using up too much resources which actually might not be so necessary. Like I said, we always have a choice. So back down to so this all the 6 points that I wanted to mention today related to this conscious creation. But how this comes out into mind over matter, because what is mind over matter is actually a choice. It is the smarter choice that you choose to make. It is actually connected to design or design thinking, if you're aware of these concepts. Very deep concepts. Do look them up if you can. And like I said, if you want to adapt to a specific lifestyle or you want to adapt to a better choice, there is millions of beautiful people like our speakers who are giving out the right information. We have like any kind of information you want to give out. There is free, good, authentic information on the internet. Use it, make the right choices, because I feel as designers or as artists or as creators, we are building this world brick by brick, inch by inch. The world that we imagine is the world that we build it. Now, if we don't think we're living in an ideal world, then it's our responsibility to build that ideal world, because we have the power to do it. And I mean, if there, for example, for designers, if there does not exist an ideal solution, then you can go out and create the solution. That's what designers do. You're there to help create solutions and think about out of the box and fulfill that thing. So that's it from me. I just want to leave you with this question or the statement: we all need to make choices, but we get all to make mindful choices that is going to help us as a community of human beings on this planet. Thank you.